started asking questions like that, and they're sitting there kind of, where's he going with this? And I asked, how many of you guys are married in here? Did you have to ask government's permission to do that?
What?
Yeah, you did. You filled out what? A marriage license. They license you like dogs. And I can do a whole presentation on the licensing thing here later on. Oh my goodness. And of course I had them then, and of course got everybody laughing, but still my point was that we are sovereign folks. We make sovereign decisions every day. You are above the Constitution. The Constitution is a job description for your government. The Bill of Rights doesn't grant you rights. What's the Bill of Rights do?
It limits the government.
It tells government, no, you cannot infringe on these rights. Congress shall make no law, shall not be infringed. No soldier, what? No soldier. No. It's all the way through the 8th. They start to talk about cruel and unusual punishment. Then the 9th Amendment, the most forgotten about, just says because it's not enumerated in the first 8 doesn't mean it's not your right. What a concept. And Joe Biden about a month ago, your rights are not absolute. I did the same thing, started laughing. I said, no, your power is not absolute, it's delegated. Your powers are inherent. Birthright. You ever talk about the militia? Oh, that sheriff's crazy. He talks about the militia. You guys are all the militia. It's any able-bodied man. Want to know something? It's a birthright. That militia was here long before that Constitution was here. The Constitution recognizes a militia that already exists. Am I clear on that?
Yep.
It's a birthright. National Guard is not the militia. The federal government doesn't have the authority to create a militia because the militia already existed. It's funny, I got National Guardsmen that are, they call me now. One of them, we've become good friends, and I started explaining to them, because back in the Clinton years, they had the National Guard training them against the militia. That's it.
Yeah.
You understand? Oops, I'm sorry, I just spit. I'll get that later. You understand? They had you going after your own men?
About 95.
Yeah. Anyways, the sheriff's office is most familiar, most useful. That's why I underlined that. Most useful. Yeah, it's the only elected law enforcement entity out there. We go back to the sheriff's office again here. The sheriff, going back to look more of the history here again, and talks about when the office is a constitutional office. It is competent for the state legislature to impose upon him, this is a sheriff, right? New duties growing out of public policy or convenience, but it cannot strip him of his time-honored and common law functions. That's how, I would say, engraved we are into this system of law. I can tell you right now, without sheriff speaking up and being successful, that the old left-wingers are trying to get rid of us.
Amen.
Look what they did in Pennsylvania. Look what they did in Delaware. Delaware, I sat next to the sheriff who got slapped by one of his county commissioners just shortly after the Beau Biden, the son of Joe Biden, was the Attorney General of Delaware. Geez, how did he get elected? Anyways, he come out with an Attorney General's opinion saying, oh, the sheriff doesn't have any arrest authority. I started laughing. I'm going, and you took that? He says, we're filing a lawsuit, and the problem is our Supreme Court will use Biden money to get elected. I said, you're filing in the wrong court. Article 4, Section 4, United States Constitution. What's that say? What form of government are we? Republican, representative. They just took away the people's representative with an opinion from an attorney general. That's all it is, an opinion, folks. And he says, yeah, I had a commissioner just come right on up and slap me. What are you going to do about it? I said, you took it? I said, when he woke up in the hospital, I would have had cuffs on him. You don't take that. First you drag him in front of the camera as a lesson to everybody, you know? It's like, no, what are you thinking? Well, of course, he lost it going all the way up to state Supreme Court. He didn't have the money to go fight at the federal court. Prin's case I talked about, Sheriff Richard Mack against the Brady bill, $420,000 that cost. $32,000 was just to have the United States Supreme Court hear it. Where's the justice? Oh, let me finish this right here. Anyways, the common law function, they devolve them upon the incumbents of other offices created by the legislative authority. This is where the state police hate me. And in reality, I get along with the troopers we got in my county. But the higher-ups, when I started posting this PowerPoint here, they even went to their union attorneys and said, hey, is this accurate? Well, yeah, it's accurate. I'm not here to make enemies of them at all. We're here to work together and try and make our community safer. But I'm the chief law enforcement officer of my county, not the governor, not the attorney general. I'll get to that later on. Now, what the attorney who handled this was Carson Tucker. He's a common law attorney. He's also a JAG attorney. He's also my attorney now. And he's very successful. When this COVID all hit, back in March of 2020, by May, I had contacted Carson and asked him to do an opinion for me on why we can't enforce the governor's orders. And because I knew we couldn't, because those orders you kind of pulled out of our hind end. And they weren't constitutional at all. And this is where I get upset. They don't teach constitutional law enforcement officers. They teach court rulings or case law is what they call it. I hate the word case law. It's basically settled law is what it is. However, you guys learn your Bill of Rights, know them like the back of your hand, and then start learning what the governor's duties are, the attorney general, your Congress's duties, your Senate's duties. There's a difference between a Senate and House of Representatives, especially at the federal level. Why was it so important back in 1913 when they supposedly passed this constitutional amendment making our federal senators be voted on by the people? Folks, that messed up the system. That took the mojo out of the states and gave it to the people with money. The way it's supposed to be, your federal senators are supposed to be appointed by your state Congress. They're called ambassadors. We don't vote for the ambassadors at the federal level. The doggone it, big money people wanted to start dumping money into their campaigns, and the reason is because it was a moneymaker for them. You have to look up and understand what I'm saying. You have to go look up and see what the duties are of your federal senators, and then you'll be going, oh, that's what he's talking about. Who approves treaties with other countries? Yeah, why is it important for big business? Oh yeah, why is it so important for the states not to give up that power? Yeah, start looking that stuff up, folks, and looking at what their job descriptions are, and then you'll learn more and more how the banks kind of messed us up. What he's doing here, Carson Tucker, he's comparing Parliament in Great Britain. Well, Parliament didn't have a constitution like what we had here. So, the Parliament, they could get rid of the office of the sheriff. In our country, they cannot, because the powers and duties of the office may not be abridged. And actually, let's see, the office attained constitutional imperative in the United States. It didn't do that in Great Britain, where the office of the sheriff come from. So we have it engraved here in